How's it going, everyone? I am Walter the Film Hermit, and I am back. Sorry it's been 2 weeks since a video. It was just during the holidays. It's really hard to find time to do a video. My work schedule shifts around a bit, and usually when I get home, I'm more tired than normal. And had a lot of things that I had to do, and one of the more important things to do was to see Spider-Man No Way Home. So this is my spoiler review. I thought about doing a non-spoiler review, and a lot of people on YouTube did non-spoiler reviews, but then I watched some of those videos and I realized even a non-spoiler review kind of reveals things about this movie. I'm gonna say right now, if you have not seen Spider-Man No Way Home, do not watch this video. In fact, I'm gonna try to put spoiler review in text throughout the entire video, so that way if you happen to catch my video by accident, you see the text and stop it immediately. Movie's been out for 2 weeks only, and it has made $1 billion already worldwide, which is a huge success for Sony and Marvel and Disney. So I'm gonna go deep into this movie and talk about the plot and all the hidden things. So first off, I'm gonna put this out there up front. I've seen it twice, and I'm gonna tell the story about when I saw it the first time. Someone was in my seat, theater was full, had to get an usher to move him aside, and then I was focused on the movie, had a great time, but I was a bit overwhelmed because the movie's about 2.5 hours. Doesn't feel like it's 2.5 hours. The movie flows really, really well, and it has a really great story, and I was very entertained, but so much happened. I was like, kind of reminded me of Endgame, because with Endgame, I wanted to see it again right away because so much happened. I wasn't quite sure how I felt about it. I kind of needed to watch it again, knowing what happens, to kind of see how I feel about how the plotting went. So this movie takes place right after the end of the last Spider-Man film, No Way Home, actually the same second, where Mysterio basically reveals to the world after his death that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. So it goes through the whole plot of how Peter is going to live his life. And of course, Damage Control shows up, they arrest him, and basically blame him for all the drones that went crazy in London. And he keeps trying to tell him the story. It wasn't my fault, it was Mysterio. They don't believe him. So that's pretty much where the movie starts. And if you've seen in the trailers, the idea in the trailer, he goes to Doctor Strange to see if Doctor Strange can fix the situation. Funny thing about this, someone on Twitter posted a little link basically saying that if Doctor Strange just made everyone forget about Mysterio, then the movie would have been over right away. But I made the point on Twitter, and people keep blocking my comment over and over again, and at this point it's driving me crazy, that in the movie, Doctor Strange is the one that came up with the idea of making the world forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Peter goes to Doctor Strange and asks him to go back in time and fix the situation, and he reminds him, I don't have the time stone anymore. But Doctor Strange basically has this idea, and knowing how ego-driven Strange is, he kind of gets latched to this idea and doesn't really think it through. And honestly, I think a lot of the bad things that happen is his fault. And then he tries to blame Peter for it but Peter's like a 17-year-old kid. Like, you're an adult and you should know better. So the idea basically is he's gonna do a spell, and when he does the spell, the world will forget that he is Spider-Man. But as he's doing the spell, Peter's like, wait, I don't want Aunt May to forget, I don't want MJ to forget, I don't want my best friend Ned to forget, and then he's naming all these people, and the spell just goes completely wrong. So Strange has to stop the spell, and he's like, this could have been a catastrophe, good thing I stopped it, you messed everything up. So then the plot kind of goes on, and all of a sudden, Dr. Octopus shows up, Doc Ock from Spider-Man 2. And it's an amazing battle sequence, and then finally Strange tells him, and then you see the Green Goblin, like, the Green Goblin from the original Spider-Man film. I mean, you've seen all this stuff in the trailer, but that's the moment of the film where I was just blown away. Like, this is just amazing. This is just getting better and better. So Strange basically explains now the multiverse is opened up, and everyone that knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man is now showing up in our universe, and we have to find him, we have to stop him. So that's when the movie kind of goes, and we see pretty much every villain that's ever been in a Spider-Man movie prior to the Tom Holland films, except for we don't see Venom from Spider-Man 3, and we don't see, there's one other one that I was thinking that we didn't see and I forgot. Oh, we don't see the second version of Harry Osborn from The Amazing Spider-Man. And I'm gonna go put this out here while I'm kind of talking about the plot. This, after the second viewing, I think you can clearly say, in my opinion, this is the best Spider-Man movie. And I'm gonna go into reasons why. And now a lot of you out there are probably thinking, how can you say this is the best Spider-Man movie when it's not a Tobey Maguire movie? How can a Spider-Man movie be the best Spider-Man movie if Tobey Maguire is not in the movie? He's in the movie. And I'm gonna get to that later. And then it's like, Doc Ock was the best villain in a Spider-Man film. How can you say that's better than Spider-Man 2? Alfred Molina as Doc Ock is in this film. So basically, all the villains are now in the MCU, and we find out Green Goblin is now in his Norman Osborn persona, and he finds Aunt May's shelter for the homeless, and he's asking for help. And he's just, I don't know where I am. Someone else is living in my home. My company doesn't exist. I don't know what's going on. And Aunt May convinces Peter to help him and help the others. And during the conversation, you find out that basically a lot of these guys end up dying fighting Spider-Man. So because of what Aunt May says, Peter has a conscience, and he's like, I don't want to send these guys to their death. There has to be another way. So there's a moment in the movie where Doctor Strange and Peter have to fight because Doctor Strange is going to send them all back, and Peter tries to stop him. That's a really great sequence as well. So one thing I will compliment this film for, there was a lot of things that we knew going into it. A lot of things that we knew were going to be in the movie, but you get so wrapped up in the story, you forget a lot of key things. So another spoiler I'm going to talk about. During this whole event where Peter is trying to help the villains, Aunt May dies. And it's really sad, and I didn't see it coming, and I was kind of in shock when I watched it the first time, because I saw her get hit, and then she gets up, and I'm thinking, how can she get up? She got hit pretty hard, and then she goes down again, and then I was just like, this is really, really sad. And the moment that made it even more sad was that Peter's kind of in denial about it. He's asking her to wake up because I just need you to talk to me, and it's really sad. And then Damage Control shows up, they shoot him in the arm, and I'm just all emotional, like, what the hell is going on? Like, everyone's turned against him. It's just terrible. And I'm so wrapped up in the emotion of what happened, I forget about any other Spider-Man showing up. And there's a scene where Ned has Doctor Strange's sling ring, and he opens up the portal, and he sees someone that looks like Spider-Man, but I knew instantly it wasn't Tom Holland's Spider-Man. And I'm thinking, is that the Green Goblin, like, in disguise? Because he wants to get the box back so he can destroy it. And I'm like, no, wait. And then it walks through and then takes the mask off as Andrew Garfield. And of course, the audience goes crazy and applauds and cheers. And I was like, thank goodness. And the scene is just so funny. It works so well. And then he tries again. He tries to open a portal. And then Tobey Maguire walks in. And then one of my favorite lines is Ned says, oh, great, it's just some guy. Because Tobey Maguire's not wearing a Spider-Man costume. Actually, one of the best lines in this movie that I love, and one thing I'm going to really highlight is, we suspected, and there were a lot of rumors, that Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire were going to be in this movie. But we didn't know for sure until we saw it. And everything that you could have imagined could happen with the three of them on screen, in my opinion, we got it, and then some. There's a really great line where Andrew Garfield is talking to Tobey Maguire, and he's wearing his regular clothes, and he tells him, he goes, are you going to be going into battle dressed like a youth pastor, or do you have your suit? And then Tobey just goes like this, and he's got a suit underneath, which I thought was just a great moment. The thing with them all in the movies, they all have really great chemistry, and there's all these really great character moments with the three of them, because there's a situation where, Peter's upset about May, and then you see Toby, you see Andrew, and they're trying to talk to him, and he's like, don't tell me you know how I feel. There's a moment like this in the Spider-Verse film as well, where the other spider people tell him we're the only ones that know how you feel. And that's a nice moment in that movie. And I think it works better in this movie because these are characters that we know, these are characters that we've seen in their films, and the stories they're telling, we were there with them. We saw those films. Toby's character tells him about when Uncle Ben died, and even though Andrew shares that same story as well, he tells a story about how he lost Gwen Stacy, and that's what happened in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. And then there's a moment when May died, she uses the line, "When great power comes great responsibility." And Tom starts to tell them that, and then they interrupt and they say it with him. And he's like, "How do you know that?" And he's like, "That's what Uncle Ben said." And the key thing about the great relationship they have is, like, technically they're the same person. They're all Peter Parker, but they're from alternate universes, and they have similar experiences, even though they're different people, but they're the same people. And you kind of see how they kind of bond, like, really very quickly. And you have really three great performers that did such a great job with it. And you kind of see how Tom Holland's character is, like, bent on revenge. And Toby's character is trying to tell him, "Look, I've been where you are, and I've done that, and I got what I wanted, and it didn't make me feel better." And you kind of see how they don't want him to become what they were. And I think that story, part of the story, worked amazingly well. And there's a really great sequence towards the end where they're about to go into battle, and they put their masks on, they start to run, and they jump, and they're slinging their webs, and the audience just goes absolutely crazy. One thing about this movie had really great audience reactions. People were so into the movie. They loved the movie so much and had such a great time with it. And I think after this long pandemic, that's something that everyone really needed. They really needed a film that really wrapped them into the story and made them love it just as much as Endgame. And I'm gonna put this out there too. I mean, I love Endgame, but that moment with a lot of the moments with the three of them were amazing. And that moment when they run and they jump into battle together, I think that was better than the end sequence in Endgame when you have all the characters together. Now, I've seen the movie twice, and I can't even believe that it happened. That there is an MCU movie with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, and they're in the same scene talking together, both as Peter Parker with Tom Holland. I still can't wrap my head that it actually happened, and they actually got it done, and they did such a great job with it. So I can't say more good things about this film, and hopefully if you're watching this, of course, you've seen it, and you all have different opinions, but my opinion is, I think, I'm not going to go on a limb and say if it's the best MCU movie, but to me, I think it's definitely Tom Holland's best Spider-Man film. And I'm going to talk about the performances too. Everyone was great in the movie. We had all the villains come back. We had Jamie Foxx come back and redeem himself as Electro. We had Alfred Molina come back as Doc Ock. We had Thomas Hayden Church come back as the Sandman. Oh, the list goes on. Like, everybody came back. It was just amazing. I just couldn't believe that this actually happened. And of course, I don't want to leave out Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe as the Green Goblin was fantastic. And I loved the fact that he broke his mask earlier on, because a lot of people don't like that mask, but I never mind that mask, because the one thing about that mask was great is you could still see his performance underneath of it, because you can kind of see through some of it. And the faces that Willem Dafoe makes as the Green Goblin are amazing. And you see a lot of that in this movie. He was great. And I heard that part of the condition of making the movie, he wanted to do all of his own stunts. I think they said that he's in his mid-60s, and he did all of his own stunts in this film, and that is very impressive. He's a great performer that's blessed us with his performances for many, many years now, and we can just add this to the list. So definitely a positive review for Spider-Man No Way Home. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the Blu-ray release, which is kind of strange. It's kind of early to be talking about the Blu-rays, but they're already up for pre-order on Blu-ray.com. So I'm going to go through it quickly because there's not that many editions. Well, actually, no, all the editions are on display right now. So we're going to take a look at the... Okay, I'm going to cut to the image of the regular Blu-ray. So the regular Blu-ray is showing up, and these prices are temporary because when it gets closer to the release date, they'll probably change. But the regular Blu-ray is a Blu-ray DVD combo, and that is going for $24.99. And of course, it comes with a digital copy. And they most likely are going to be using that art. It doesn't say that it's temp art, so that's probably what they're going to use. And then you got the 4K slipcover, which is the same art. That one is selling for $27.99. And it looks like Target is going to get an exclusive edition. I like the art on this one. This one has a Blu-ray DVD combo as well. I didn't really see what's so special about this edition. I think it just has a different slipcover. I have the Target edition for Homecoming, and I didn't get the Target edition for Far From Home because it was just a different slip. That was all it was. But it looks like this one here has fan art cards. And now that I remember, I think the Far From Home had art cards too, but I didn't care. So I didn't get that one. I'm trying not to double dip with MCU Blu-rays anymore just because there's no 3D edition. And I don't see the point of buying multiple editions if I'm not getting 3D. Hopefully there will be a 3D version of this film to import. I've heard the 3D version's okay. I didn't see the 3D version at the theater because I usually tend to enjoy 3D better at home. And of course, the one that I pre-ordered is the Best Buy Steelbook. So I think the art on this Steelbook is pretty good. I pre-ordered it already on Best Buy's website. It was about $29.99, which is actually kind of cheap for a Best Buy Steelbook. That's only about $2 more than the regular slipcover. So now that it's pre-ordered, it's locked in at that price. I wanted to rush and go ahead and order it now because I've looked on Zavi's website and the UK Steelbook is already sold out. So I'm like, I'm not gonna miss out on this one. And I'm gonna be quite honest, I wasn't too crazy about the Steelbooks for Homecoming and No Way Home. Actually, sorry, Homecoming and Far From Home. All these home titles get me all mixed up. But I want to have all three for the collection. So I'm going to get this Steelbook so that way I have all three of them. The art for the Far From Home Steelbook was absolutely terrible. Probably one of the worst art of the year. For some reason, Sony has terrible Spider-Man posters. Like all the Spider-Man posters for the theatrical releases have been absolutely terrible. And I haven't been crazy about their Steelbooks, even though I do like the Homecoming Steelbook because Iron Man's on the cover and I thought that art was pretty cool. But the Far From Home wasn't great. This one is much improved. It's kind of nice they didn't put the 3 Spider-Man on the cover because they didn't want to ruin it. So that's my long rant on Spider-Man No Way Home. Meant to say this in the beginning of the video, but I didn't have a chance. If you can like, comment, and subscribe, it helps the channel so much. And for all of you that have been watching my videos so far, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And you all have a fantastic new year.